Hello, my friends. This is Andy, and I want to just talk to you a little bit about, some for the last year, things have been a little tough for some of us, right? Between hurricanes, monsoons, tornadoes, fires, more recently here in California. And I know that no matter where you're at, you have stuff going on. And of course, the tragedy in Las Vegas and other locations across the United States and quite frankly, across the world. And so, what I decided to do back in 2012, I wrote a book called Falco, Walking with God and a Dog. And it's about my time that I spent with my dog, and then after retirement and his passing, how he brought me closer to God. And now, you don't have to be a Christian or even a believer in God to get some of the points in the story in reality are to let you know that there is many ways to look at things and many ways to look at tragedy and how you're going to respond when tragedy hits. And so I've decided that I'm going to relaunch the book. Again, I originally wrote it in 2012, and it's still relevant today. I just recently got some new previews and testimonials in regard to the book, and it just really, I got to thinking, you know what, I'm a changed man. When I wrote the book, I thought that I was doing really well, and the years following, again, just as any of us, fell into bad decisions and doing things that I knew that quite possibly may have had a better result if I would have followed God's manual and what he says in the Bible. And so here I am now, a single man. When I wrote the book, I was married. So you can imagine some of the things that are going on in my life, and I'm sure there are in yours. And so it's time to really just kind of look back in to what the book taught me and what I was just God put in my hands to write. And so I'm going to go through the book again. I'm going to relaunch. I would love for you to read the book. I also have a video I made back in 2012 that I would love for you. If you just click on the link down below, there's a little red button. You just click on that. That'll take you to the video that I made at the time that I wrote the book. And then underneath that is your opportunity to get the book for only 99 cents. For the last several years, it's been just a little over $10 plus shipping and handling for the print version. But for the Kindle version right now, you can get it for only 99 cents. And so I'm going to make that available to you. This is a relaunch of that very same book, and would love for you to get your hands on it. Over here on my left-hand side, right over here on my left-hand side, you can see the book cover, so you'll know what to look for when you get into Amazon. Again, you're just going to simply click on the button on the next page. It'll take you right there. But in the inside, let me just show you a little bit of what you can find inside here. Here's the introduction. Let me read a little bit of the introduction here for you. Before every chapter, you're going to see one of the some words from God's Bible, and then either a story or something I can relate to in regards to what it is that my dog taught me. And in this particular introduction, I talk about in 1992, Falco, my partner and police dog, and I were working patrol in the city of Anaheim, where I worked as a police officer. While detaining a group of gang members with Falco's presence used to motivate them to cooperate. It's amazing what a growling, snarling dog will do to keep people from acting up, especially from running from us. I heard a call over the radio about a shooting with two suspects seen fleeing the scene. They left the victim lying in the street, riddled with several gunshot wounds. An hour later, I was able to finally respond because I finished up with what I was doing there with the gang members, and I wanted to see how Falco's senses might be used to help solve the crime. The canine trainer that I was going through at the time told us that dogs cannot track, that it was a myth. They really can't. Yet I also heard about the miraculous finds handlers had made with their tracking dogs. Was it just a myth? Was my trainer wrong? I soon enough found out that tracking was in fact possible, and Falco was particularly good at it. When we arrived on scene, I didn't see any obvious physical evidence which would lead us to the suspects, but I did know Falco was trained to locate any evidence such as guns, knives, or keys which carried the suspect's scent. If the suspect had thrown the gun they used in the shooting into a nearby bush, Falco would smell the human scent and lead me to it. When I gave Falco the command to search for such articles, he started sniffing the ground at the very spot where one of the suspects had stepped as they fled the scene. Holding onto Falco's leash, he suddenly took off through the front yards of the neighborhood. He pulled on the leash like I had not felt before. As I jogged behind him while I was not trained in the art of tracking, Falco had his head down and was intent on following the scent. He had picked up the scent he had picked up. I was just along for the ride. While running through the fourth front yard, I asked a resident standing there if he had seen two suspects run that way in the past hour or so. No, he replied, but I heard what sounded like a couple guys running into the alley about 45 minutes ago. It was right after I heard a gunshot over by State College. That was the street where the victim was laying down, riddled in gunshots. During our exchange, Falco never lifted his head and continued to follow the scent. He suddenly turned north between two houses but was stopped by a cinder block wall, divided by the front yard of the homes from the alley at the rear. Falco sniffed at the wall, put his paws on it, telling me he wanted to go over. There was a gate just to the right, so we went through it. When we entered the alley, his pull became stronger and his breathing more rapid. My heart was pounding as I drew my weapon. It was time to call for backup, but I hesitated. It was supposedly impossible for Falco to do what I thought he was doing, but what he was following was the tracks of two armed suspects, and dangerous suspects. While I wasted time arguing with myself, Falco led me to the side door of a garage. He began to whine and bark at the door, which stood ajar. I was convinced it was possible he had led me to the felony suspects. So I got my best friend, Officer Chuck Alvarado, on the radio and told him what I had. He immediately responded to my location, and I showed him the door and told him how Falco led me there. He decided to call for a sergeant and further assistance. You know, I can go on and read this book. I'm actually excited reading it again because it takes me back to that very time where my dog had essentially, as you will read in the book, it ended up saving my life. And I hope that you'll get the book. Again, it's only 99 cents. There's a lot of stories in there that will lead you to understand a little bit more of why I decided to write this book. Let me just take you to where the chapters are. And in these chapters, I talk about forgiveness. I talk about obedience, not in regard to dogs, but the obedience is surely part of that. Why God, mercy, social networking, facing the giants, grace, self-control, least in the kingdom, temptation, sin, puppy love, language barrier, discernment, what to do, days like these, loss, teamwork, church, brokenness, name change, which is the story of my name change and how you're probably wondering, well, how does he have the name of Falco and his dog was named Falco? Well, that story tells you all about it. Higher intelligence, love and respect, leader of the pack, and dying to live. And then I give you the 10 commandments for a dog owner. So I think you'll find this book very interesting. Again, the testimonials and the ratings on Amazon in regard to the book are very positive. They're all 5 stars. I think that you'll find it interesting. So if you would help me spread the word about my book, I would really appreciate it. Again, it's only 99 cents. And you will also be able to spend a little time just kind of reflecting and understanding how maybe even your cat or your dog or maybe your children or maybe somebody in your life may be showing you the way towards God and the Bible. And again, even if you're not a Christian, I think there's a lot of stories in there that you'll be able to relate to regardless of your feeling about God. All right, so go ahead and click on the button. It'll take you to the video, again, which I wrote and produced and created in 2012. And then right below that is the button to get the book for 99 cents. All right. I will see you on the inside. And again, thank you for watching this video. Take care.